film producer at NFL Films for over 37 years. He is Greg Cosell. How are you, Greg, today?
Colin, what's happening?
Well, there's so many interesting things as we move into what I think is a really dynamic weekend. So I'll start with the team I talk about a lot, New England. They're 4-2. They're a field goal from 5-1. But they've got all sorts of, even with the Jets, I thought there were big portions of the game. The Jets outplayed New England. We know they don't have a pass rush. Are you happy with their offense? What does the film say?
Yeah, it's real interesting because I don't think there's anything wrong with Brady, really. I mean, he's moving well. His pocket movement, he made some big-time throws this week with pocket movement. One thing that has shown up this season, well, really two things. Number one, I think their O-line has not given him as consistently clean pockets as we're used to seeing. Number two, and this may be a nitpick, but I believe this from my film study, I don't think Brady has been as precisely accurate with the same consistency that has defined his game. And like I said, I'm not suggesting he's inaccurate, Colin, but Brady is one of those guys. He is so accurate. I mean, he literally hands the ball to his receivers. And even on some completions, he has not been as precisely accurate. The better term is ball placement or ball location. And then every once in a while, that causes, an issue, and maybe it causes them not to sustain a drive.
Yeah, and that's what I see. There is just a little bit out of rhythm. Some could be Edelman. Gronk's been hurt. They've got several players. Brandon Cook and Dorsett are long. They'll extend the play vertically. Maybe he's not as good vertically, but I agree with you. The rhythm isn't there now.
They'll work through that. They'll work through that, in my opinion. I don't think this will be something that lingers all season long.
Somebody who is getting better, now as we look at Tom Brady, is Carson Wentz. Now, they're 5-1. I think right now they're as good as anybody along with Kansas City in the league. They are tremendous on third down, which would lead me to believe the opposite of New England. They're in rhythm. They've got execution. What does the tape say on the Eagles and Carson Wentz?
Yeah, what I would say there is there's many reasons, too many to enumerate now as to why teams are good on third down. So I'll focus on one, and that's Carson Wentz's ability before the snap of the ball to recognize the defense. And see, normally in third and long situations, Colin, the defense has the tactical advantage. They're in their sub packages, meaning 5 defensive backs, 6 defensive backs. Some teams use 7. That's where all the pressure packages come from, in the sub packages. Carson Wentz has done an outstanding job recognizing these things before the snap of the ball. And then the ancillary point is you have to confirm and validate after you take the snap. And then sometimes the defense changes, and he's done an amazing job then in what we call the post-snap phase of then recognizing that, hey, there may be a change, so I have to adjust. And don't forget, all this is happening very fast. So for a quarterback with 22 NFL starts, I think he's very, very advanced mentally, and that's why he's so good, and they're so good on third down.
Let's shift to the Dallas Cowboys in the same division. This time last year, Dak Prescott, Ezekiel, Jason Witten, Cole Beasley, and Dez were shocking the league. They are clearly not the same offense. What's the film say?
I think that, believe it or not, I think Dak Prescott is playing well. I think one of the issues they're having is I don't think their O-line has been as good this year, and we just assume they have a great O-line, and maybe they'll come around, but I don't think they've been running the ball with the same sustainability. Elliott's had a few really nice runs, and he did get 100 yards in his last game, but it took 28 or 29 carries for him to get about 110. So it's just not been as sustaining in terms of consistency. And I think their offense still does work through the run game and work through their O-line, and we'll see if they get that fixed.
I'm watching the Giants. This was the shocker for me this weekend. And I've said this for years about wide receivers. They're the icing, they're not the cake. This is the line.
I've heard you say that.
Yes, and that I think there's examples of you build a team center out, not perimeter in, and as the season and the wind and the climates change outdoors, the vertical passing, is that I think sometimes Odell Beckham, there's a sense that the Giants have to pay attention to him, which hurts other elements. So I'm watching the Denver game, and I'm watching their offense, and I'm like, okay, they don't have Shepard, they don't have Odell. Why was New York so effective?
Well, this was old school football, what we've not seen from the Giants under Ben McAdoo. Here's their play call breakdown versus the Broncos, Colin. 32 called runs, 22 called passes, okay? Darkwa and Gallman had 30 runs between the two of them. 25 of those runs came with Manning under center. This was a straight line, old school, conventional run game, and if their defense keeps games together, this is probably the best way for them to play right now, even with Shepard coming back, because on the outside they will not have enough weapon-wise. So this is the way they probably have to play. Keep games close, run the ball, use some play action. If they have to throw it, Eli's certainly got experience, but this should be the Giants' profile going forward.
Two teams in the NFL, Greg Cosell joining us, NFL Films, 37 years, the most objective analyst on football I think this country has. I have said two teams I thought could double their wins, Carolina and the Rams. Now, I think the Rams have maybe the best kicker-punter combo. They have an elite defensive lineman. They upgraded left tackle, center, coaching staff, and their wide receiving tight end group. I like their personnel. I really do. Goff has a feathery touch, but boy, they had a lot of opportunities against Seattle. They had opportunities against Jacksonville. It's not quite there for the kid. Now, they also have Todd Gurley, by the way, who I think could be the best back in the league right now. What do you make of Goff? Where do you stand with him?
I think he's still a young and work-in-progress player. I think there are times that he shows inconsistencies in certain areas, such as his ability to stand and deliver with people around him. Sometimes he does that well. Other times he gets a little antsy and then misses throws that he should make. So I think he's a work in progress. And I think Gurley is doing really well this season. I think the O-line has helped a lot. I would not view Gurley as the best back in the league. I think he's an important player for them because of his receiving ability, but as a runner, I think he's very much of a straight-line downhill runner. He needs momentum. He needs the point of attack relatively defined.
Okay. I like him this weekend against Arizona. I think it's the London game, but I do think they're a better football team. I think sometimes we elevate the quarterback before the elevation is worthy, and I think with Goff, I'm a little ahead of myself. I think Carson Wentz looks much more like a refined product. Now, the Packers lose Aaron Rodgers, which, by the way, I gave you credit all week. You've said multiple times he's the jazz musician. He'll run out of plays that are designed effectively. So not a shock he gets hurt out of the pocket. He's not a huge athlete. Now they go to Brett Hundley, who I watched a ton in college. Not an overly accurate thrower, big, strong kid. When you meet him, you can't help but like him.
Oh, I know. We spent time with him.
Yeah, he's a wonderful guy. Now, what's the offense going to look like? How much of the Aaron stuff do you keep, and how much do you get rid of?
Well, I think the offense at its core is a very highly disciplined offense. Aaron Rodgers doesn't play it that way because he has a special skill set that no one else has. But I think you'll see Mike McCarthy go back to his old Pittsburgh roots. I think he'll try to grind it out. I think he'll put Hundley in the gun at times and do all the read stuff that everybody now does in the league when you have a mobile quarterback. That really helps quarterbacks. I think they'll run the football first. I think they'll try to shorten games, play to their defense a little bit. It'll be a different offense. The plays they run won't necessarily be different in the pass game. They'll just look different because they'll be executed differently.
Yeah. Let me just throw out a Steeler question quickly before I get to your play of the day. Nice win at Kansas City.
Real nice. They dominated defensively. They dominated that Chiefs O-line.
Okay, so that to you is the game. What about their offense?
Well, I've been saying for weeks that the offense must run through Le'Veon Bell, and they did that against Baltimore week 4. They did it this week against Kansas City. To me, their offense must run through Le'Veon Bell. I don't see that as a debatable point, to be honest with you.
Okay. All right, so I'm not shocked by the Rams because I said they doubled their win total. I'm not shocked by Carolina. I'm not shocked by Atlanta pulling back. The team in the league that has shocked me, and it's your big play, is the Saints.
Yeah.
I'm not going to – listen, they're running the ball. They're playing defense. Last week's game was wild, but this team has completely shocked me. I didn't think they had the defensive personnel. Just show me some Drew Brees. Show me something. What's going on with the Saints?
Well, and oh, by the way, they still have Drew Brees.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good. But I wanted to show this play. I'll get to in a sec because I think that one thing Sean Payton has always been outstanding at is pass game concepts. And you hear that term a lot. I know I throw it around a lot. I wanted to give people an idea of what that means. So let's run the play first. I know everybody saw this. It's the touchdown to Ted Ginn. It might have been the first one of the game. It's a 20-yarder. It looks pretty basic, okay? But there was a concept involved here. When you anticipate man coverage, good teams will line up very often in what we call a bunch. You see three receivers bunched together. This is an approach to attack man-to-man coverage. You see the three defenders. They're actually doing this right. They're at three different levels because you've got to sort out the releases in bunch. So now you have Darius Slay, he's matched on Ted Ginn. But here's what bunch does. It can do one of two things. It can distort responsibilities or it can create a natural rub or pick. Here, what does it do, Colin? Creates a natural pick. You see Slay, he has Ginn man-to-man. He can't get through Michael Thomas. And Thomas is just running a vertical route. That's not illegal. He's just releasing vertically off the line of scrimmage. So now Slay is in a trail position with Ginn. That's his man. So what we're dealing with here is this is a tactic to attack man-to-man coverage when you anticipate it. This gets receivers open quickly within the timing and structure, and it presents the quarterback with a defined throw. This is what teams should do when they anticipate man coverage.
And by the way, Drew Brees, who's been in this league since I was like 9, he can pick up on that stuff. I mean, that's where a young quarterback may not get it as well. I wonder if he audibled in and out of that, or
this is what you want to do to help young quarterbacks, too. This is what Sean McVay's done a lot of with Goff. You're trying to create opportunities where it's defined immediately within timing and structure. And that's what you want to do with someone like Goff in particular, young quarterbacks, so they see it right away. So they don't have to work. This is not a progression per se. This is defined immediately.
Greg Cosell, 37 years, NFL Films. Great stuff, Greg. Thanks.
Thanks, Colin.
Coming up next, Christine, about an hour ago, said, Colin, what are you talking about? Is this a conspiracy theory? Are you out of your mind? And I said, I'm going to explain it to you. The Indianapolis Colts GM is a very smart man. It is happening. We predicted it, and I'll tell you how it's going to end. That's coming up, plus the great Jim Ross, WWE announcer / legend on our show today. First, you know how much I love Dollar Shave Club's razors. Did you know they offer so much more? High-quality personal and grooming products. Hair, face, skin, and shower. No need for the hassle of stepping into the store. Just use Dollar Shave Club for almost everything. Body cleanser, hair gel, razors. Dollar Shave Club, head to toe, got the bathroom covered. Everything is super high quality. Right now, try it all. They have a starter set